Hello everybody, my name is Treyas, and I'm here to teach you about Progression Razor. What I mean by Progression Razor is that a lot of videos going around right now are talking about very endgame stuff and builds that you'll be doing towards the endgame, and that doesn't really help you on the way up or understand how team builds should work. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you get those builds that you will be using on the way up to your perfect team or your perfect comp or your perfect gear sets. So to start off, some of the things that I want to talk about is that what makes Razor good. Razor's a great primary DPS that doesn't rely on a lot of team switching. This is good for those people that don't want to spend too much time flipping between all four of their characters every few seconds in order to, get the most out of their team. There's still going to be some team switching, but Razor really does do well with just being out on the field for an extended period of time. And by extended period, I'm talking about 15-20 seconds of uninterrupted combat. That's a nice little advantage to him. Another thing about Razor is that he works great with a physical down debuff. Pretty much a majority of his damage comes from his basic attack. That's his white damage. So if we want to take advantage of that, we can do an ice into lightning, and in that you'll see that they have the down arrows around his body, and that will greatly increase the damage I deal. So here, let me stop killing this guy, and we'll reset him, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what I mean. Razor is a really good free-to-play character. One, you're guaranteed to get him if you've done enough pulls. You can find Razor inside the shop right here in the Star Glitter Exchange, and Razor is right here. I've already bought him, and you have 21 days left to get him, and it's a guaranteed chance to get him, so you don't have to worry about getting lucky. You will have Razor. You don't need duplicates of Razor for Razor to do well. Constellations, of course, will help, but they are not at all required for Razor to do well. Now, the initial team that I'm going to show you, to give you a good example, is this team. Now, Venti in this team is not important. He is not at all required for this team. He's just there because I sometimes use this team to travel around, and Venti is really good at traveling around because of things like this. But you would fill that place with Fischl. Fischl will be perfect there. Fischl's probably even technically better there than Venti is for just general DPS. I gotta go back to that guy that I was fighting. Just these guys showed up. There he is. Perfect. Alright. So, my damage, 278, 240, 476, that was a crit. 278, 240, 476, 627. 278, 240, 476. Hey, stop it. 300, there we go. I didn't crit, and 395. Okay, so 278, 240, 300, and what was the last one? I'll call it out in the video. So anyways, that's my basic damage. Now what we're going to do is we're going to show you what happens when you do a cryo into lightning. And now he's got the defense down debuff. 700, 690, or 609, 9761, and 1002. So that's just with the defense down debuff. As you can see, the amount of bonus damage that you deal is extremely high. Another example that uses Barbara in the team. Now, there is another combo that happens with water and the hydro and cryo. It's freeze. And there's a special mechanic with freeze, which is if you hit the enemy with a heavy attack, they will shatter and you do bonus physical damage. And that bonus physical damage can be quite significant. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. So we're going to use Barbara, get them wet, cryo for the freeze, switch here, and you'll notice that 2 pieces of damage came out. 364. Okay, so the 200 and some damage is actually the shatter damage right there. So it's like getting off, another 50% damage hit. Now, the reason why the number was higher is because I have a book on Barbara. It is The Thrilling Tales of the Dragon Slayer that increases attack by 48% for 10 seconds when I switch. So since I had switched to the characters, that's why they were doing bonus damage. Alright, so I have another combo that I want to show you. This one is with Barbara and the cryo, except for we're not going to try to get the shatter bonus, we're going to actually do the defense down. So here's a cool thing. We're going to get them wet, we're going to freeze them, and then we're going to hit them with the E. Now you'll notice that after they're frozen, they lose the wet buff, but they maintain the cryo buff. So that allows us to go right into our E and apply our physical defense down debuff. I'll show you what it looks like to go full damage combo on this enemy right now. So now he's got all that defense down. He falls apart pretty easily. So what I did with that, the main portions were I used Barbara's E to get enemies wet around me. And this skill gets even better once she ascends to phase 4, which is elemental orb particles increase the duration of the Let the Show Begin melody loop by 1 second up to a maximum of 5 bonus seconds. So this skill normally lasts for 15 seconds. Well, now it'll be 20 seconds once you ascend. And so you have 20 seconds of all enemies around you have the Hydro debuff. Then I switched to Kaya. Now Kaya, a lot of people rag on Kaya because he's, they're not exactly sure what he's supposed to be doing. Kaya's a really great assist. He's not there to be your main damage dealer. He's just, you bring him out to do very specific jobs. Kaya, when he actually ascends, he gets access to Heart of the Abyss, which will be enemies frozen by Frostgnaw will drop additional elemental particles. That works out perfect with our Barbara into Kaya into Razor combo because Barbara gets the Hydro debuff, Kaya hits him with Frostgnaw, gets the freeze, Razor comes in with the lightning and procs the defense down buff. Razor's Ascension 4 is not extremely important. Some of these other characters' ascensions will have drastic effects on your power level, but Razor's not as much because Razor really doesn't have an issue charging up his Q ability, his elemental burst. So let's go in and talk some more about team makeup. So there are a few talking points that I want to hit on team makeup and just the general way that I build teams. So the way that I build my teams is in the one slot, for me, is my archer. They are my range DPS / assist. Now, I think you should have a range DPS in every team that you're planning to do general content with. They do not need to be in every team for your Abyss or anything like that, but they are really important for general content. So, I have a range DPS and an assist. This could be anyone. Fischl, Amber, Venti, it doesn't matter. The next one I like to have is a healer. I always have my healer. You'll notice that I have Barbara and I have Chi-Chi. My feelings on them are, I really love Barbara. My only issue with Barbara is when I fight cryo enemies. So Barbara, because she makes you have the Hydro debuff, that means that any cryo damage you take will cause you to become frozen. So it's really irritating. to be Barbara, to like have Barbara on your team versus cryo enemies. It's not the end of the world. It's just irritating. Kaya is the third thing is just my general assist character. Kaya is just here for what he brings, and that is cryo. He has a single shot cryo on a short cooldown, and then he has an extended cryo over time with his Q ability, his elemental burst. That cryo lasts for 8 seconds, I believe. So duration 8 seconds, and it's got a 15-second cooldown, and it's got a pretty cheap energy cost at 60. But this duration 8 seconds can be increased if you get his constellation up. Let's see which one it is. Yeah, here it is. It's his second constellation, Never-Ending Performance, that the Glacial Waltz increases its duration by 2.5 seconds up to a maximum of 15 seconds. So you can have this Glacial Waltz up for an extremely long time, if you're making kills with the Glacial Waltz on. So that's another great thing about him. And the fact that Glacial Waltz stays on your character when you switch between characters, that's what makes it special. And the last thing that I have on my team is my primary DPS. Whoever my primary DPS is, that's what it is. So I break teams down into a primary DPS, a ranged DPS, healers, assists, and then there's the elemental synergy that can happen. Now, if your ranged DPS is your primary DPS, like let's say you run official, like a official, your primary DPS and your ranged DPS. This means that that kind of opens up a slot on your team for another assist, because you no longer have to spend a slot on primary DPS / ranged DPS. So what I would do here is I would put in a character for elemental synergy. Now, I'm going to tell you right now. So for the elemental synergy, lightning I don't find to be that important for lightning characters. Most lightning characters fill up their ultimates extremely fast, and I find this to be less than, not very important for the character. Same thing goes for Shattering Ice, the cryo one. 2 cryo, this can be okay. I just don't think it's good as a double assist. So let's say Razor's our main DPS. We use Chi-Chi and Kaya as our cryo, and we use, Venti or Fischl as our ranged DPS. Well, the Shattering Ice increases the crit rate against enemies that have that are frozen or affected by cryo by 15%. This is powerful, but we are not going to be keeping that cryo debuff up that often because we're going to keep removing the cryo debuff. And so many of our attacks won't actually have this debuff. So this 15%, you can't think of it like 15%. You have to think about it as a much lower number based on uptime. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of that. However, the ones that I'm a big fan of, that I really like, are the Fervent Flames. When you have 2 fire characters on your team, it increases attack by 25%. This is beautiful. It has no conditions. It's just 25% more attack. More attack scales everything. So a good example of this, and we need our ranged DPS. We want it to be fire. So we get Amber. Amber's not, Amber gets a lot of flack, but an important thing to look at with Amber is she's just there for supplemental range DPS, and she doesn't even need to be part of your main switching combo. She's just there as for the elemental resonance. So we'll get her in the team. Next, we need our healer. Well, we have to have cryo for this team, and since we're going to have 2 fire characters, we can't have Barbara. So right there, we've got our Chi-Chi. Next, we'll want our assist, which will need to be another fire. Shang Li is fantastic. And then last, we need our primary DPS, which will be our Razor. So we're going to save settings, and this is what that team would look like. So Amber, Chi-Chi, Shangling, and Razor. And you'll notice that we have 25% more attack. Okay. So you'll notice that I had 1300 attack before, and I have 1420 attack now. So I gained 120 attack. This is pretty significant amount of attack right there. And it's definitely value. Now, I'm not going to dive too much into that team. I'm going to come back to the team that I was trying to show you guys. Like I said, we changed this Venti for official. We switched to her. And this is what your team would look like. This is the free-to-play team that I'm talking about. Let's just go over this free-to-play team and how you would use a combo for this team. So a combo for this team would be something like this. So what a combo would look like with this team. This is a easy to do free to play team. Okay? So let's look at how you acquire this team. We have Fischl, who is a chance up in the Venti banner. I highly suggest rolling the Venti banner. Barbara, who you get for free for one of the events, as well as she has a chance up in the Venti banner. Kaya, who you get for free. He's part of your story quest. And Razor, who you get through the Star Glitter store. Star Glitter exchange. And then right here, you'll get your Razor when you have 34 of these. I believe they're like called Master Seals or something. So you will have enough to buy him as free to play no matter what. They give you enough resources. So that's why this is a fantastic free to play team. Now we have range DPS. We have a healer. We have our assist, Cryo. And lastly, we have Razor. So this is to show you in general what a combo would look like on this setup. We would start Barbara, go for the wet, freeze them, E, switch to Fischl, do her E, you could fight a little bit, switch back to Kaya, freeze, ultimate, back to E there, ultimate, E, and he's dead. And that's just a general idea. I messed up a little there with the Barbara switch, but you still get the idea. I wasn't supposed to switch to Barbara after Fischl. I was supposed to switch to Kaya after Fischl. So the way the combo goes, Barbara, E, Kaya, E, Razor, E, Fischl, E, Kaya, EQ, and then finally Razor, E into his Q, back into his E, and so on. And that's the general combo. Then after that, you stay in Razor until after your ultimate ends. Now, an important thing to note about Razor is that when his ultimate ends, he's still going to have the little orbs that he's been generating from his E. Now, those orbs that you generate from your E grant you increased energy recovery. So this is his E, and then it says, upon striking an enemy, Razor will gain an Electro Sigil, which increases his energy recharge rate. Now, the energy recharge rate is 20% per Electro Sigil, so he can have up to 60% increased energy recharge bonus. Now, another important note here is that these energy sigils last for 18 seconds. So, his ultimate says that it will, when he summons the Werewolf Within, which deals electro damage to all nearby opponents, this clears all of Razor's electro sigils, which will be converted into elemental energy for him. The Wolf Within will fight alongside Razor for the skill's duration. Now, when we go back and we look at the Electro Sigil, it says that it generates 5 energy per Electro Sigil absorbed. So if you have 3 sigils on you, when you go Werewolf, you start your ability with 15 energy. And the Elemental Burst itself takes 80 energy. So we're 15 out of 80 already as long as we had 3 electrosigils on us when we transformed. Now, there's a lot more stuff that I could go into on Razor, but I kind of want to stop the video here. So I hope that you liked the video. If you did, please leave a comment and subscribe. I am brand new to making videos, and I would love to hear your feedback on things that you would like to see improved. I do plan to do more graphics and have an intro video later, but for now, this is where I'm starting. Thanks guys for watching, and I will see you later.